Alright, good evening everyone. Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns. I'm your host Din, and this is Link to the Past Randomizer Crosskeys tournament. We're into losers bracket round 1 now. We've got fcoughlin versus Illus. I hope I said those names correctly, fingers crossed I did. And with me for commentary we have Jinxie Girl. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so it should be getting underway very shortly here. No delay on this match, so we're just going straight in and see what happens.
Have a little bit of singing from Fred there, getting ready to go.
His audio is coming through very quiet on my end. I don't know why that is. Just switch over to it actually. Something, hopefully. I don't know. Coming through. Everything's just very quiet audio wise at the moment. I might find what's the right spot.
Ooh, okay, we have some divergence already. We have Illus starting at Link's house and Fred starting at Sanctuary. So we will see where that takes us. Oh, vanilla. Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting there. Okay, so it looks like Illus is gonna go for the standard Houlihan Witch's Hut check here. Always nice to start with that. Okay, so Fred is going up towards South Kakariko here. Illus is going to set up for that. Do we have like some pretty interesting drops here? Uncle being in the useless fairy spot, that is kind of troubling because that means there is going to be something more than likely behind Aga 1. There we have a big key to Ice Palace. Fred giving us a look at the race game, which is just 20 bucks. Gonna say no, thank you. Illus setting up that Houlihan. Ooh, very nice on Fred's side. Finds the graveyard ledge there. Gonna be able to do some bomb refills there. Grabs a full heart, which isn't terrible in early game. Yeah, definitely getting those 10 bombs. Illus gonna head over to Hyrule Castle, see what's hiding out over there. Just 5 rubies on that tree pool. Gonna go down and find out that that is Sanctuary, which is not vanilla, even though I said it earlier. Just ignore me. We have our first bottle on Fred's side. Ooh, and mini Molarm Cave right off the bat. Using that golden bee to take out those Lamolas there. Or mini Moldorms. Wow, we have some very nice items in Mini Moldorm Cave. Our lamp, our hammer, and our small key to Ganon's Tower. Getting our first look at the back of Escape here from Illus. Wow, Fred finding all the big ticket locations here. Back of Escape with just a mail upgrade, which is very nice early game, just because a lot of time you're on low percent. Fred really clearing out these high item locations. Paradox Cave also gives us 2 other exits around the world. Not sure if he's going to go ahead and check those as of now. Kind of early checking is rather risky. We have the front of desert over in Hylia area. That is also 2 other connectors that I'm sure we'll see at some point. Fred taking an unfortunate death. There is Swamp Palace. Looks like Illus is going to go for the Eastern Palace checks early on, which is rather bold. That is one of the locations that are typically left till later in the seed, so I really like this play. He's going to have that early knowledge and could snag some pretty interesting items over there that Fred might put off for a while. Looks like Fred is going to go ahead back to Paradox Cave. I am on comms. My name is Jinxie Girl. Illus making that long walk back to Eastern Palace entrance as Fred finds Magic Bat. Or that might have been the useless fairy. I didn't really catch good enough glimpse there, but he did find Ice Rod Cave, which is another item, another heart. Very healthy seed starting out here for Fred. Illus heading back to Spiral Cave. This is a one-way connector. Fred finding Bumper Cave over there in that obnoxious house. Back at Tavern today, we'll have just 10 arrows. And there is Misery Mire hanging out over in the village today. Nothing really exciting about that. Oh, our first connector taking us to Dark Death Mountain. Interesting that he didn't go ahead and check the other connector, but early connectors can lead to some interesting situations, and bunny walking is always crap, especially if you don't have that mirror. Illus hopefully making his way over to Kakariko, where he's going to find some good items that Fred has already found. And nothing really exciting that he left, but leaving those 2 chests would be rather curious considering it's so early on in the game. Very nice bomb jump from Fred. I'm not going to check those connectors as of yet. Like I said, it's very easy to get stuck in a black hole there and have to restart, which is never fun. Small key from our bottle vendor to Turtle Rock. Illus starting to get those goods over in Kakariko Village. Fred gonna check Blind's house. Just a bomb vendor. Illus heading into that mini Moldorm cave. We have the back of Turtle Rock here. which is a pretty nice find for Fred, as long as he can do those laser skips. This is, of course, out of logic as of right now, but that doesn't mean anything. It's Crosskeys after all, and these runners are very well versed. There's our lamp and hammer for Illus, followed by a small key to Ganon's tower. Fred gonna try his hand again at his laser skips, takes out that octonaut or whatever they're called. Setting up very nicely done. Just 20 rubies for his troubles, but we have 3 more chests to go. Illus heading into Paradox Cave to grab his useless items. Fred is finishing up Laser Bridge here. Do have a small key to Ice Palace. Takes that death warp a little bit faster to get back to the entrance. Probably going to peace out and continue his search. Oh, I missed that earlier. Big key to Misery Mire there in Paradox Cave. Looks like I'm going to be joined by Excalibur on comms, hopefully.
Here I am, hopefully.
Hey.
What's going on so far?
So we had a really, really nice mini Moldar cave that we found over in Kakariko Village. It gave us our lamp and our hammer, so we have a fire source already. Lots of small keys found, nothing really exciting. Another small to Turtle Rock for Fred, but lots of connectors that we have not seen as of yet.
Cool. All right. Do we? Have either of them checked out Sanctuary just yet?
Not yet. We did find out that Sanctuary is over at Hyrule Castle today, so no really exciting connectors over to Kakariko Village, but we did find the front of Desert as well as Swamp Palace over just to the right of Link's house.
Desert's an awkward connector, but better than nothing, and at least you know where it is.
Ooh, I don't think we're going to have an AGA 1 seed today, as that is our Lost Thief over there at the Lumberjack Cheery with just $50. I don't think anyone's going to be that desperate to kill AGA 1 just for that. We have another connector that we're not going to see just yet from Fred.
Sorry, I'm still catching up on the technical difficulties.
You are just fine. I appreciate you joining me. I'm pretty sure chat was already sick of my voice.
I did a 2.5-hour race last night by myself, and I would not wish that on you. So here I am. Sorry, I didn't get the message until after the race started.
Nope, you are just fine. I was set up. Oh, we have the
Well,
I just went blank. Kakariko Well hanging out over in the Sanctuary entrance. That is a very nice one to find, but I do believe we're pretty close to having a vanilla Ganon.
is that the last drop down?
I think so. Yeah, we have a vanilla Ganon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hence,
so we are going to have to climb that tower. Yeah, and that adds the Ganon's Tower Big Key as a required item to finish this seed, which we have not seen yet, so add it to the list.
I think every race I've commentated on so far has had a required GT Big Key, so sorry.
So it's you that cursed our deer runners today. I appreciate you, sir.
I apologize profusely for lengthening the length of your commentaries. Illus showing off that he's good at laser skips. I'm always jealous when I see runners being good at this.
Same. And the diver down and the ice palace, how they just walk in and just go ahead and do icebreaker without even thinking about it, whereas I have to really concentrate and
So
it upsets me, but it's fine.
For me, things like oh,
Ooh, mirror for Fred. See, Illus did not go check this chest. That is pretty big for Fred.
yeah, it's such a long walk for one item, but sometimes one item is a good item.
Oh, yeah, that can even lead to some bunny walking shenanigans. So we might see Fred go ahead and check some connectors here.
Yeah, once you've got the mirror in hand, getting spat out into the dark world is a much more palatable thing to do. Both because you can make more efficient checks, and also because you can super bunny your way into an awful lot of the checks that are available.
So yeah, magic bat in oh man, magic bat in Kakariko. That means we got a vanilla Ganon.
The save and quit point on Light World Bumper Ledge could be worse, especially given that they have Castle Sanctuary. We might actually see that get used a little bit later, but it's not the most useful spot for the old man to be living.
Agree, and not terrible, but not exciting either. One of our connectors for Paradox Cave just taking us out right in Kakariko Village as well makes that kind of crappy. There's the back of Desert.
Good find, one less thing to look for later. Of course, we're not going to go through all the hassle of Dungeon Bunny Revival just to steal a key, so I don't have to think about that today. And
very nice connector to the Dark Village there. Especially
I'm surprised by the immediate save and quit and not checking at least chest game before calling that a route. But
yeah, those are some pretty quick bunny glitches there. I definitely think I would have probably gone ahead and checked just to see.
And also checking the mirror points south of CAC, but some runners don't like bunny walking. Like, the amount of bunny walking that a particular runner is willing to put up with seems to vary out from, half an hour to I'll check the next cave over. So,
I appreciate the game more when I'm commentating and bunny walking is required.
bunny walking makes you, the commentator, happy.
It does. I am kind of sick in that way.
Then you should hope that they run an inverted Crosskeys tournament, because that involves lots of bunny walking. But yeah, compared to all your regular modes, to see a lot more bunny shenanigans and a lot more bunny glitches in Crosskeys than you ever do anywhere else.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to see Illus do too many bunny shenanigans, considering he's not grabbed that mirror from Desert as of yet. Fred gonna get the bad news that that long walk all the way to Eastern Palace is useless.
Yeah. this maze, both the Pod Maze and Eastern Maze, they're fine, I guess. They just feel like they're not very good mazes from a, maze design point of view. And so now, now that we've all solved them 200 times, they're just tedious.
Agree. I definitely think they upped their game in the which one did they just release for Switch? I can never remember the name of it.
Breath of the Wild, or the sequel?
The
I don't know if the sequel's out yet.
Not Breath of the Wild, the other one, the cartoony one, where they kind of made it a lot more
Oh
puzzly.
yeah. Yes. Also don't remember the name. Despite the fact that I like puzzly link games. At this point, all the names are basically the same name.
There you go,
Harder
Din
to-
helping us out. Link's Awakening. Ooh, what a crap connector. But hey, we found it. It's done. We're good.
Well, and if you haven't been over the desert area before you find it, at least you, at least it's you over here.
Yeah, for sure. Fred gonna go ahead and do Spiral Cave. Gonna get spit out. I did mark it. Don't remember where. Oh, up in Dark Death Mountain. So, Fred has that mirror. We have our Death Mountain access coming up, and I believe we're gonna see some of Death Mountain.
As long as the last couple of mini Moldarms on the way out the door here don't own him. I made it. So that's the sort of place that if you die, you're not coming back for a long time.
Ooh, we have the back of Super Bunny here. Not the fun connector.
I appreciate Fred's decision to walk up the mountain in the Dark World, just because it saves you dealing with the cabbages, as well as it's both safer and it saves you the portal there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of checking from the top down. Ooh, there's Thieves Town.
And just in general, Dark Death Mountain is blissfully quiet and serene. I feel like it's one of the few parts of the game where nothing's ever going to come out and get you.
Just very nice connector. Unfortunately, it's in a really gross location.
I was too busy watching Fred clear Thieves Town. Where did Illus find the TR bridge from?
That is from Super Bunny, so that is a nice long trek to get to that connector, and unfortunately doesn't have that mirror to check the other two spots while he's there.
Yeah, that's of all the exit-only locations, it's actually probably the most useful one. But you have to have the mirror in hand to really make it useful.
So far, just a small to Skull Woods in Thieves Town. I'm going to go ahead and take a Death Warp and continue on with his Death Mountain trek. Having that hammer in hand, that really opens up a whole lot of Death Mountain. There is a place over in the mini Moldorm Cave location.
Fred deciding to do West Death Mountain first. Which...
Not a terrible decision. Lots of places to check there. Illus found the flippers that I missed. Must have been in Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, they're optional at this point. I assume that this check is partly just a logic's leading me sort of decision rather than a...
Oh, that's pretty big though.
And the logic was leading pretty aggressively. So now Fred has half of the puzzle. Illus has the other half. Because really, Moon Pearl and Mirror is where you want to be.
Wow. Big key to Turtle Rock as well as our hookshot there in Death Mountain. Found that.
No. Now Fred has both ways to the east side, and found that on the leftmost cave on Death Mountain, which I think AA is named for is the hint names. I still can't remember which one's which, or rather, I can figure out where the place is after reading the hint, but darned if I can remember the names. I kind of missed the hints, but it is what it is. Fred finding another dark connector, but not the one with the old man in it. So let's go around again on the old ride here and see if we can find him.
Ooh, there is the big chest of Turtle Rock over in the Ice Rod Cave location. Found our bomb shop. Eastern Palace and Ice being our 5-6.
That's kind of convenient. Without the glove in hand, winding up in the Ice Rod area is a little bit bad, but I mean, you'll take these entrances. We can at least go get a couple of chests while we're in here. Fred finally finds the old man rescue cave in the other drop down. see what the old man's present for us is today. Not good.
Ooh, getting really bullied by those cabbages. There's Ganon's tower.
With hammer and hookshot in tow.
Uh-huh.
Which I think means Fred's going to be in Ganon's tower for the next, 10 minutes or so. It's not quite that long, but... taking a death warp, mostly just for the health refill, I assume.
Very nice use of those pots in Turtle Rock for Illus to go ahead and get some refills on some bombs, magic, couple hearts.
Yeah. It's always worth remembering where the various restock pots are, and especially when you have no better way to flip the switches in the chain chomp room.
Put a small key on the torch there in Ganon's tower.
And another small key.
Crystal tower. That's actually pretty nice because that gives us both checks, and we know Aga 1 is not required.
Yeah, it means that when you finally get around to finding Aga Tower, especially with the lamp already in hand, you just knock out the 2 checks, tick it off your map tracker, and never think about it again.
Fred grabbing a sword there in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, wall kicks. Armos is definitely one of those times where you'd much rather have a fighter sword than a hammer. There's not a lot of them in the game. And, well, Illus is busy doing flipper stuff. He's going to show us what's in the story area.
Oh, there's a chicken hut. Oh, but out of bombs.
Does Illus know of any prize packs or trees or etc. that spit out bombs?
Not that I have seen as of yet. Hasn't really killed too many enemies. But looks like there's some arrows in that prize pack, so more than likely... that could be the arrow heart prize pack, though.
Yeah, Illus doesn't seem that excited about killing more enemies in that pack, so presumably there's no bombs to be had.
Trez is the owner of ZSR. Zora with just $20.
I enjoy Illus bothering to pick up the $20. Like, well, fine. I'll take my refund. Fred's still on the long left side checks of GT. Faster than the right side. It takes a while.
Very nice damage boost for Fred there to get across without having to take that long sequence of, oh, Illus about to grab his mirror.
That's good. I assume Illus is sort of running low on things to do without the glove or the mirror. There's not that many dots left on his map tracker.
I think that's our first small to pod. Now a super gross Armos fight here for Fred.
Oh, I got a lot better with that sword.
Yeah. Illus is giving us a look at the desert exit that we have not seen. Does have that moon pearl, so he is able to go ahead about his shenanigans without any bunny situation.
And remembers that there's 50-50 bushes down here. Hits the 25% no bush outcome. Fred, 30 seconds into the Ice Armos fight. Yeah.
Painful, but Starter Sword is pretty much one of the best swords to fight Ice Armos with if you don't have anything else. There we have Spectacle Rock. The good entrance where we're going to get the item. Whether or not it is useful, we will see. It is a small key.
I'll take it.
I mean, a small to Ice Palace makes it a little bit nicer to go through, so
And
a
Illus
terrible find.
went to line himself up for a bomb jump and then realized that an important ingredient of bomb jump was still missing.
Yeah, it feels so bad not to have bombs, especially when you feel like all you run into is shops.
50-50 bushes round 2. It's the back to 2 for 4. So
Ooh, very long. Yep. Fred dropping a bomb on those useless chests.
Fred having so many bombs to spare that he's willing to spend some just on rage. I don't think we're going to see Illus doing that for at least the next few minutes.
We do have the Myra shed here. Oh, big key to Eastern Palace. Not bad at all.
Required, and it's half the puzzle for Eastern. A lot of runners would rather not go into Eastern without the whole puzzle ready. So maybe we're going to save them some emotional angst on deciding whether or not to go into Eastern. What are your thoughts? Are you a pro Eastern dip person or a Eastern can go jump person?
I dip Eastern. I pretty much, and I like when I would find desert, I would go ahead and get that item that I know I can get. So that's why I'm not very good in the tournament. We did find an entrance into Hyrule Castle for Illus.
With the sanctuary somewhere not terrible. We're going straight downstairs and not having to worry about the sewer's key.
Yeah, not having to orphan that Zelda chest is pretty nice. Wondering if Fred is going to check connectors or go right into checking the rest of Death Mountain. Death Mountain it is.
Yeah, I think this is the...
Well, there's our powder.
Fred doesn't have any particularly good ways to get back up here, and so checking entrances first seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
Especially with that hook shot.
Yeah. Now, of course, some connectors are reversible, and you can use them to get back up here later. But sometimes you get stuck. And
there is Hera. We do have that small key as well as a fire source, so we can get 3 checks here. Actually, 4 if he's going to go ahead and... We can do a lot. We can clear out Hera, because Fred does have that hook shot.
Yep. We're going to get everything but the big chest, I'd assume. There's some chance always that people just leave the basement behind, because it takes a while. But Mr. Coughlin is not one of those people. Illus doing the dark rooms on easy mode.
Although I believe he went in the dark world, so these enemies are going to pack a punch.
Yeah, he's definitely been nudged for 2 hearts at least once. But
Oh my gosh, vanilla sewer key.
Illus, I'm sure, very happy that he went and got that entirely useless key.
Oh no, it was a light world entrance there into Hyrule.
At the Crosskeys mirror spot at race game left, which these people, these sorts of caliber runners, aren't going to forget about, but it's one of the less obvious mirror spots in Crosskeys.
Ooh, some bombs. You better pick those up. Having that mirror so early just makes routing these checks so much nicer.
Mirror. So say mirror is not required. What do you think the difference is in a seed between finding the mirror first and finding the mirror last in terms of time? I reckon it's got to be like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would think so. Although sometimes not having that mirror eliminating a lot of checks kind of makes it a little easier. I don't know. I'm 50-50, but I would rather have the mirror for sure.
So
Oh, another
the
Hyrule
mirror,
Castle entrance.
in another mirror spot. For the mirror, I think that you win enough in routing efficiency that the extra options aren't a problem. So something like the mitts, right? Like or the GT big key. I can see the argument for if I just never find it, then I don't have to worry about it, right? But
Exactly. Oh, there's Sick Kid. Illus does have a bottle.
an early bottle we get to learn about.
Hey, that's
Odd.
information. Early maps are not terrible.
So sautéed red onions, which it's currently dinner time here, so you're not making my life any easier. The RNG games are fixed to win in some amount of time. So the dig game, for instance, is 1 to 30 digs, and it'll be the same number for all players of that seed. The chest game that's usually in Village of Outcasts, you always win on the second chest. The ones that don't spit out any useful item are still random, I believe, but nobody ever plays them, so I don't know.
Oh, and there's Sahashla, as Fred has just picked up the green pendant from Hera.
Will presumably make Illus a little bit less likely to... Ooh. I think you're about 2 seconds ahead of me on the old sync, Jinxie Girl, so... You keep going,
sorry.
ooh.
I'll delay.
just before I get to see what the things are. Is that one of the many things on your control panel over there? Fred finding the Master Sword innocuously in the basement of a brewery on Eastlick Mountain.
There we have the hookshot cave. Unfortunately, Illus does not have that hookshot yet, but does grab the big key to Ganon's tower, which we know is required.
Yeah, sauteed red onions. You do get the full fanfare when you pick up the item, but for instance, yeah, it's just to make it fair for everybody. It turns out that despite this being a thing called randomizer, people would rather not have it be decided by randomness. So actually, almost all of the randomness in the game is so-called seeded randomness. The teleportation of Ganon in phase 3, actually all the phases, blind. The blind always has manipulable RNG, etc. It's all seeded ahead of time. Illus making his way back to the TR bridge with the mirror in hand.
There's our shovel in Hookshot Cave.
Illus unfortunately finding nothing of interest, but still gets to drop down and check these lower entrances.
Oh, if Fred only knew how close to Sahashla he is in those boots.
Well, he's about to be much farther away. Illus finding first sword. Goomba, Illus was second to the mirror, but being first to the Moon Pearl is now getting to be more efficient about routing.
Although Fred grabbing those flippers is one step closer to that Moon Pearl.
Logically, that's true. There's always the question about how much people care about flipper logic, right? For basically everything except Swamp, the flippers are just an optional decoration. but of course the understanding what the game is pointing to you towards is an important part of running rendo. Illus certainly made the flipper checks much more quickly than I would have anticipated, absent the flippers. So, because I think while you see in open mode or whatever, you see early fake flippers quite a lot, Crosskeys runners are just much less incentivized to do so. There's just not that much stuff up there.
Well, and Illus has been making those checks that people typically leave until later, which I really like. Like, he dove the eastern area super fast. And that's typically something that's left, you know, for a long time till you can kind of do it with the mirror and the pod areas. So I think he's really doing checks that people kind of put off for a little while.
I mean, that's a high upside thing to do, right? So a lot of the decisions you make in Rendo in general and in Crosskeys in particular, you know, are a decision to leave something behind because it saves you a minute to do it, you know, to not do it, but it can cost you a long time if some useful item is there. And if you think your opponent's going to make that sort of decision around a particular part of the map, you can try to capitalize on it by making sure that you do make those checks.
I have some synchronizing going on here, so I am not sure what is happening at the moment.
Me too. Fred has found his way to the Dark Witch's hut. Check some entrances while here, and then presumably head off. Illus's stream is just straight buffering, so hopefully that comes back shortly.
Oh no! Okay, Illus is back. Nope. Illus is
well,
back. Oh, Fred, you have the ham. Oh, you're in bunny mode.
Yeah, bunnies can't wield hammers. The list of things bunnies can do is very strange, and then there's the list of things super bunnies can do, which is even stranger.
There is some crazy stuff going on Illus's stream right now. Little recap for everything that Illus has done so far in... Wow. Oh, he did find the potion shop, which I missed. He's going backwards. What's happening?
So I've been having time skips in Fred's stream as well, so...
It's like the stream is in complete rewind. There's Ice Palace for Fred.
It doesn't have the ability to go in, but mark that down for later. It's not a terrible spot, especially if the flute turns up sooner or later. And Fred making the long, slow, unfortunate walk to Ice Rod Cave with no gloves. I apologize if you can hear the police car in the background. I live on a major street, and that happens sometimes. And I thought that swimming was faster. Never mind this being a long, slow walk in general, but now you have the flippers in hand, I thought that the speedrun play was to just swim over here.
Nope, he's still not on because he does have that moon pearl, so I'm not sure what's going on with Illus. This is all previous stuff here. That big chest in Total Rock just having a single rupee. I'm going to try and refresh here, see if we get this better. And I've lost Illus completely.
I hate to see people have tech troubles in the middle of their races.
If you're gonna have trouble, Din is probably the best restreamer because he is like super knowledgeable about stuff. So if anybody can fix it, Din can. So everybody just give him a second.
Yeah, it's still every second you spend goofing around with OBS, it's a second you're not winning the race. unfortunately, Din doesn't have the pause fcoughlin stream button, but Fred does by smashing a pokey bit into his face with the hammer. Killing pokies. Oh, and decides he's had enough, which is fair enough, I think. Apparently, a whole bunch of the tech crew are busy working on things, as you can see in chat. And currently, I have no streams at all, so no useful commentary.
I have Fred on his way to the hobo, so he is about to grab that moon pearl, which he's going to be super psyched about. Yeah, unfortunately...
Is he going to be psyched about a 45-minute moon pearl?
I mean, it's better than a 2-hour moon pearl. He did blow up the poor hobo who's already homeless, but, it's okay. Yeah, unfortunately, technical issues are just all a part of the game, and you don't want to see it from any runner. Fred and Illus are both so adept at running, especially Crosskeys. They're just great people, so you really hate to see it happen, and we really appreciate chat being so patient with us and, understanding.
The chat's mostly feeling bad for the hobo at this point, so, I'd feel bad for the hobo, feel bad for Illus. Fred gonna make his way up to Zoria area, and unlike Illus, will have bombs in hand. Not a lot, but some.
By the way, Illus hard left that chicken hut, although has not checked, as far as we know, catfish yet. So it might not be that important. But
GT small is not a huge deal usually. I feel like most of the time you don't, between the pot keys in GT and the fact that there's sort of extra doors that you're never going to open, the GT keys rarely come in as a big constraint. Our back-end folk seem to think it's a problem with Twitch, maybe, or maybe Illus's internet. We shall carry on and hope that Illus's stream sorts itself out.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't seem to be slowing him down. Illus is still doing his thing, so it's probably a Twitch issue or an OBS issue, and he might not even be aware of it. So let's just let him do his thing.
So on the one hand, for competitive integrity, I hope that he's not aware of it, because that'll make him run the fastest. On the other hand, I'd like the stream to work.
Yeah, for sure.
fcoughlin checking the back exit to the old man and finds it's directly downstairs from the front entrance to old man. Not the most useful place to come out, but...
Oh, it's getting closer.
What's Fred coming back to in the village here, Jinxie Girl? This is before I got on the stream.
Maybe Misery Mire? I mean, that I
looks
think.
like...
Magic Bat, Misery Mire. Although he didn't grab his powder yet from Escape.
Looks like
that's the connector to Paradox there. It has to be Misery Mire he's heading to.
Even though it's fully in logic.
Or he's down to one bomb. I mean, he might be getting bombed.
Kills late recently
it seems pretty out of the way.
I've just gotten the same 10 seconds of Fred's stream 3 times, so
it's not the one we wanted.
Apologies for the lack of quality commentary at the moment, folks.
Okay, he's over in the desert area now. Must have been taking that connector that he forgot to check earlier.
Yeah, I saw him walk through the connector 3 times, and then not what he did afterwards for a while, which I think I'm now back in sync, hopefully.
Big happy birthday to our tracker, Terry J.
Let's see if we go back.
While we're waiting for everything to kind of get fixed here. Ooh, we do have Dresco on the scene, trying to
Give me
see
my
what
hug.
is going on. So big
Let's
thanks to
go
Trez and
Paradox top.
Din, our fearless leaders here, getting our restream back in order, because I would have been a hot mess at this point if I were the restreamer. So
Or we could
happy
take.
that I'm not.
I'm gonna pop open
Actually, we could
Fred's
just go
stream in
straight
its
to
own
dark
window and
That'll make a lot more sense than what I'm doing.
watch
But
that
let's do it this way.
for a little bit.
Let's come stick to this. We'll play for now.
Assuming I can spell his name correctly.
'Cause I can
Yeah,
take
we
Crazy
had to
Lady, I
switch
can
to
take
Fred's
Lumberjack
audio because Illus is
over
having
Crazy
some
over
technical
this one on
issues.
Friend's
So
house.
Fred is also chatting to his stream.
But now
So
let's see where
it
Paradox
should be
top
fun
is,
for a
because again,
while.
this
But
is taking me
good
to an
thing this is a
unknown
grown-up
character.
channel. So
And that
should
could
Fred
be
say
Flare
anything unruly,
It could be
Uh,
Floating Island, both of which are things I really
just
want to see.
just go with it.
Honestly. And we know Meyer is at Sick Kid.
Here's a big key to
We
Turtle
do have a
Rock
way
for
in.
Illus.
Technically, we can
Gonna
actually
check
pull clear.
what our
Illus
another bee.
finally digging up the hook shot, which is a nice find, and giving up his gold B to refill his bottle with something that didn't turn up.
It was a gold bee. Yeah, I
Varies
think
like-
Illus is finally stabilizing here. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can hear his audio. Check and see if it's buffering any.
Sounds good to me.
Yep,
So-
definitely sounds good. Problems have been fixed. Thank you so much to Illus, Tresco, and Din.
Though they're still 4 minutes out of sync on my restream, so
Yep. I was just gonna pretend that wasn't happening, but thanks for pointing it out. No, I'm kidding. Everything's fine. Just keep eating. There is Ganon's Tower for Illus. Okay,
Oh.
now we're syncing up here. I'm not gonna get to see what that entrance to pod is, which I missed the first time. Okay.
it's just a ferry.
Oh, it's a smog key to Turtle Rock on the torch.
Illus doing the left side clear out of GT that Fred did earlier. There's a sword in here, but otherwise not a lot. So that'll be. It's enough checks you got to do it, but from a results-oriented sort of perspective, there's nothing in here. So Illus has found the good thing already. There might be a key or two that'll become useful, but.
And because of the sync, I did miss what that entrance was over at the dark 5-flute spot.
Looks like Fred is heading Pyramid's Word now. With mirror in hand, it's a mirror and Master Sword, I believe. I don't know if our trackers have gotten out of sync.
Yeah, he definitely grabbed that Master Sword from the bomb hut. We are getting so close to being completely synced up. Just a full heart on the pyramid.
Illus, having full knowledge only 50 minutes in, is actually really fast for a Crosskeys seed.
Oh yeah.
Hasn't
sure.
beaten any dungeons yet, but knowing which 7 you gotta get is nice. And also,
There's the beast.
we now get to hope that Ice Rod is not necessary.
There's our big key to Hera on the chess game.
Oh boy, the stream you're watching, the stream I'm watching have very little to do with each other because I haven't seen this chess game yet.
He's doing it again, so it's fine. You can see it now. Yeah, I think the streams keep trying to sync up with each other, and it's just We are getting close. We are just not quite there yet.
Turns out that just watch two streams and smash them together with some OBS is not trivial. So one thing I did see there was Fred picking up flute in Pod basement.
He's just now getting to the basement for me. Hey, he found the flute. Did you know that?
I did. I'm sorry I commented that we were like 2 seconds out of sync a while ago, Jinxie Girl.
Burn the witch.
You're the Jinxie Girl.
It's true. I feel like I'm responsible for this.
And Illus has also turned up the pod. I guess that's grammatically correct, but sounds funny.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, sorry if the commentary seems disjointed for what you're seeing on your screens, folks. That's because it is.
Right.
Looks like Illus is up to right side pod with 0 pod keys in hand. 0 pod keys in hand an hour in is really unusual.
So those 2 chests are not very exciting. But it does have that hammer, so it's going to be able to do a little bit more. Oh my gosh, are we synced up? I think it's happened.
Up.
It's happened.
Button, chest, with red mail in it. Did that commentary turn up at the right time?
I think it did.
Wow.
But I think Fred's frozen now. Or he's checking his notes. No, Fred, not you two.
No. That's just we're having some happy, fun songs to get a duck out of a fountain.
Because I can see his webcam on, and he had his head down and wasn't moving. I'm like, don't you do it now, too, sir.
Technical difficulties brought to you by the internet. The internet doesn't work nearly as well as you'd hope after 40 years. And looks like Illus is going to unabandon the ferry waterfall while checking catfish. This is a nice route, and wouldn't surprise me if on the way back out he took either went left across the north side of Dark World or took the whirlpool.
Well, there's Fire Rod, which I did not know was up there.
Illus found a connector at Dark Witch's hut. Without the glove, they can't get the catfish. I'm sorry, everybody. But has found the other side of that connector on Death Mountain ages ago. So might actually come back to it, catfish later from the other side.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. Do need Bombos to open that Turtle Rock connector there, but not even a single glove. We are going to get to take a look at what is in King's Tomb, which is nothing. There's Mimic Cave, which we are able to do.
Yeah, these two drop-down caves are sometimes left pretty late, but with Fred's made enough trips to East Death Mountain at this point that this is the thing that finally gets done.
Hey, half magic and Mimic is very nice.
Yeah, it's such a nice thing to have. I mean, it just makes a lot of boss fights just a little bit faster because you don't have to worry and so on. Chooses not to mirror and check the middle cave on East Death Mountain. I don't remember coming out there earlier, but I'm assuming that happened.
Yeah, that is the entrance to Turtle Rock. I believe he did check that.
Okay.
Fred using that connector to get back to Dark Kakariko.
curiosity shop is even less interesting than usual. Just a regular shop in there. It's one of those out of the way locations that you sort of do it when you're doing this North Dark World sweep, but it's not great. It's not a great spot. At least Illus won't have to go back there. Let me see if I can get audio working. So, I think it's fair to say that Illus is a little bit ahead here, right?
Yeah,
Got some more stuff.
Quite on that Bikini Desert Palace.
He's got a little bit more stuff than Fred. He actually has a crystal, which we missed. Presumably that was in the great time skip of synchronization. But I don't think Fred's out of this by any means. How do you see things?
I don't know. The longer Fred goes without those boots, the faster Illus can traverse. So I feel like the boots might be a key factor in speed and time here.
Yeah, I mean, the boots. I mean, it as a watcher, the person without boots, it's so unfortunate that every time you see someone walking, you know they could be running. But I've been told they're worth something like a minute an hour, which, while it's not nothing, there's plenty of decisions you can make in Rando that cost you a minute. But it is time you're just not getting back to the point. I find it a little bit interesting that Illus is willing to beat Lenmo for a pendant here. I mean, yes, it's an item check, that doesn't take very long, but...
I saw our tracker. I was trying to...
What's going on there is mismarked on Illus's tracker pendant information, which is presumably a big oops. So Illus confidently has 3 dungeons that are not desert marked as pendants, and so presumably was in a bit of a surprise.
Well,
that
we
pendant
try
fell out of
to
the sky.
track based on the knowledge that we have from the runners. So when a runner makes a decision, what we show on the trackers is what they have on their trackers, should they be running it. So Siberian definitely did the right thing. So Illus had assumed that was a crystal, and unfortunately was not.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. Presumably at some point we'll see a map check in the Dark World again at some point when Illus tries to figure out what the heck is actually going on, given that he's currently confident of the existence of 4 pendants. Which is apparently something they were trying to implement a while ago, and it turned out to be hard, which is why reduced crystal for Ganon modes came in, because they could figure out how to code that, but not how to code just fewer crystals in the game. So yeah, still no actual 4 pendant games.
Oh, that's right. Fred never checked the basement of Escape, even though it was available. But we are going to get a look at some Misery Mire. Just here.
Illus doing good solid cross keys writing here, going left first. Not doing not going full left, which might be the new meta. It's hard to know. With the clip through the rail. Hello, Tezra. Welcome. Illus is winning, so that's good for you, I guess.
Need a pod there in Meyer.
Illus's first one, according to the tracker, which seems weird.
This whole race has been weird, if we're being honest. Fred with his typical hello to the audience. And I'm sure he's going to bomb our race game guy. Ooh, he didn't.
Trying to get out before the text box. They exit. I think Fred's whimsy cost him less than 2 seconds there, so. Illus making it off that screen with, I think, 2 or 3 seconds to spare. Fred walking into Hyrule Castle and being like, wait a minute, I was just here. Did I track that right?
Don't forget you have the shovel, Fred. Good job.
Missed.
Okay, at some point we also found the big key to Misery Mire. And I missed what was on the big spots. That's fun.
A map of some description.
Ah, okay.
And without the cane in hand, Illus unfortunately can't go downstairs, so just runs up the bridge and calls it a day. That mire dip was not particularly productive, I don't believe. You know, like a pod small.
Yeah, big key. It was big to pod.
No. Pod big. Much more interesting than pod small.
Uh-huh. Oh, come on. Okay, Fred about to find Sahashala. Now, one thing is that Fred does have that green pendant already, so he is going to get an extra item that Illus did not, which was just boss, so that was crap, but he is going to pick up those boots. This is actually our first dip into Skull Woods at 1 hour and 6 minutes in for both runners.
Our first dip into the front of Skullwoods.
Correct.
Illus getting unlucky and dropping into Pinball Room. At least Amazing Ampharos is a benevolent dictator and has left that key there. The 1 in 4 for a soft lock hasn't been added to the game yet, and never will be if he continues to be in charge.
Oh, the big key to Mire was in Paradox, so they've had that for quite some time. There's a Smalted Desert.
Fred remembering that he has a spare Skullwoods key and not dealing with the obnoxious room there.
It's interesting that he wouldn't go ahead and take that key, though, considering he has not done Skullwoods yet.
You can route the back without it. I feel like with the fire rod in hand and half magic, probably just slamming that guy was probably worth it, but that might have just been like, haha, I have a key, screw this room, forgetting that a later trip to Skullwoods is in his future.
Okay, so our big key was in Skullwoods. That was the big key to Desert. So we got the small to Desert and the big key to Desert from Skullwoods.
I wonder if Illus is going to Desert soon. And a Mire Small after having demonstrated that you don't need any Mire Smalls to full clear Mire. Oh well.
Fire Rod is on Floating Island.
Which we get to from.
I don't remember because everything rang.
Was that while everything was exploding?
Yes.
There's a connector somewhere in the world, J. Cooper, that takes us to Floating Island, where you will find the fire rod. Illus, I believe, has seen Floating Island, and so presumably is slightly interested in following connectors as a result.
Illus and Eastern Palace.
He's apparently on team Make the Dip.
Well, that boat is so often in Eastern, I definitely don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, it's twice as likely as any other random item you're looking for in a lot of ways, right?
Agreed.
And with the big key in hand, there's at least one extra check in here. Terry, they've both done parts of Turtle Rock, and so you might be right. And it might be in the part of Turtle Rock that Fred's done that Illus hasn't. I'm not sure.
Okay, so Fred did grab that powder.
If you're just joining us, we had some technical difficulties earlier, and so if we don't know some stuff, or our character's not quite right, we're sorry.
Without that glove, we still have not been able to check the back of the Kakariko well.
Yeah. And we also were reliant strictly on connectors to get to the Dark World, and we're offering a whole bunch of kind of obnoxious checks for later, right? The M Rock in Desert, the Ice Rod Cave Rock, the Shopping Mall Rock. You should have known about this.
There's Samaria.
Swords Desert Small leads to something good. While we're here, so I'm going to run around and check Desert Big as well. I assume Fred mistracked something. He went out of his way to drop into Useless Fairy. So-called because it's useless. Which is a little bit worrying for the future, just from a what else has he mistracked sort of sense. Desert Big, some money. Don't really need it anymore. Yeah, that might be a capacity upgrade if Capacity Fairy turns up, but Illus getting the bad news that the Old Men House is at Upper Cave front.
He doesn't
Sorry.
know where either of those were. So it's going to be even more bad news.
Yep. I enjoyed the bold striding off the cliff edge there. Presumably, the direction we walk out of doors is down with authority. We'll figure it out later. While the trackers are busy claiming innocence in chat, let me give a shout out to our trackers who have been putting up with some shenanigans during this race. Terry J and Siberian, and to Dine for dealing with the restream. As always, at this point I will mention that we're always looking for more volunteers. You can hop on over to the Discord and volunteer to help out. If you're sick of listening to me and Jinxie Girl, you can have this job if you want.
Exactly. Big thanks to my buddy Excalibur who jumped in while this was already going, so you wouldn't just have to listen to me the whole time.
Yeah, sorry I got the message a little bit late. I was dealing with something.
No, I very much appreciate it, sir. There's our bug net.
And instantly tracked. Illus checking this exit, which takes us to Mire. That's one of the good spots to get to. And despite the usual way of getting to there from the big chest door being a bonk, it's actually totally illogical. You just go up and around and kill the pokies in the kill room. Illus, on the other hand, getting their mirror spot a bit wrong and bonking. Like Fred is not missing the that Skullwood small key.
Oh, you don't have a glove.
Oh.
Do you know
Go
our
back in the
glove
mirror
is
portal.
going to be required because we have a 5/6 crystal at Ice Palace. There's Blindside.
Well, maybe Blind has our glove. Get bailed out.
Ha!
Yeah,
Burn the witch.
there's 5 items in here. My odds are pretty good.
That's fair.
Yeah, Net was in Crystal Roller Room in Turtle Rock, which is vaguely obnoxious to get to. So getting the Net there is not anybody's idea of a particularly good time. Dam is another good find.
Well, now we can take care of Swamp.
Yeah, the swamp is open to us. We know where it is. We have all the stuff. Plus, we get a free item when we get over the dam. The dam is one of those things you really do want to find. Hunting for it late in the game is just miserable.
Just hammer pigs in our OG entrance to the back of Skullwoods.
And a rupee farm in that under the rock and desert, with 900 rupees in hand. Illus, man.
Oh no! You just lost that portal, my brother.
I think that was this is the last place. No, because he hasn't. Oh, he's got a glove now. He's got a glove now. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I was about to say we'd leave this entrance behind, but no, bailed out.
Oh, a smoky on Desert Ledge.
I like that ordering. Doing the 2 entrances first before going down to the ledge seems like a clever route. And the Easttown small key, not important, but nice to have. Or, with high probability, not important, but it's one less thing to prey on your mind when you get back to Thief's Town. And glove in hand is now going to run around and check these rocks.
I like this routing.
I liked it until he started running in the direction of a place that he could take the flute to. Maybe it's faster.
Oh, that's fair. Well, he did have to check that rock spot too.
Yeah, and I don't actually know how many seconds it costs. You know what the relative time is. How many screens you should run before you bother getting out your flute.
Oh, he can get the well now too.
Yeah, it turns out gloves are real good.
I think he's going straight to Thieves.
Big key, small key, boots. It's crystal dungeon. It's not a crystal dungeon. Is it a crystal dungeon?
Yep. Nope. Nope. It's not.
All right. Illus has had widely divergent views on which things the pendants are during this game. So I was about to say it's crystal dungeon. You should go do it. But it's 4 checks you can do. A little bit less excited.
I feel like he's just gonna gamble head at this point.
You think this is a let's do something high variance because we're losing move by Illus?
Possibly. I mean, we are still missing a bow. There's 2 out there. We've crossed off a lot of our checks so far.
Yeah, I mean, we've been missing the stuff to beat dungeons. You know, to the point where, with correct knowledge, right? There's a reasonable chance that something that we need. Running lower on stuff that we actually need long term, but
it is rather strange that we could have taken down Misery Mire as well as Ice Palace. Oh well, he still doesn't have his fire rod, so that's probably why he's not taking.
Yeah.
That's obviously why he's not taking the Ice Palace dip. We could also do Swamp Palace. This
yeah.
This is interesting to me.
Yeah, they each have half of one of the 2 sort of items you really quite like to have in the cane and a fire source, or the fire rod in particular. So really, in terms of items, the only one that we, the commentators, haven't found is bow and potentially some of the sort of more minor access items, and swamp small, and some pod keys. How many GT keys do we actually need to climb?
Right, we didn't find the swamp small yet. There's a pod small.
So Terry, that's the answer for what logic wants. Runners don't care about that, right? Like, how many GT keys do we really for realsies need? I think the answer is about 2, which Fred has in hand, but Illus, at least per our tracker, does not. On the other hand, his tracker claims he has 3 there, things, so he might have got those while we weren't watching his stream. Terry, on my copy of Illus's tracker, it only shows 1. I assume there's been a desync issue somewhere.
Very nice line fight here from Illus. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fred jumping in to Misery Mire does have the big key as well as Samaria, so I don't think we're going to see Fred leave this dungeon without completing it.
Yeah, this is a full clear. Illus gets his blue pendant, which he's very excited about. Something confused by that. Not quite a perfect blind fight, but, you know, lost a second or so. If it's done just perfectly, the blind should die to the left of the little box of light on that last pass. But, you know, got hit once, lost a second, whatever. Certainly better than I can do. But that's because I'm bad.
Likewise, my friend.
I can do Icebreaker. I can do all the fancy glitches. Can I fight blind? No.
Right? Right? Same, brother. Same. My gosh. And I still have trouble with freaking Master Sword Ganon too, and I hate myself for it. I absolutely hate myself for it.
I mean, I think part of the problem with being sort of mediocre at this stuff is you feel bad about yourself because you watch these people that are absolutely really quite good at what they're doing. You're like, I'm not as good as those guys. Like, yeah, but they're really good.
Let Fred stand up. Oh, he's leaving. Fred's peacing out. He sat back down.
I have 17 seconds to stretch. Don't get that very often in this game.
Oh, there's Bombo. So now Illus can do Ice Palace.
Yeah, I don't know what Illus has to do that's better than Ice Palace, so I think Ice Palace play seems reasonable to me, and I think this is...
That's where he's going. I hope he hasn't forgotten where that fire rod is. Or where that connector is.
Did he find his way to the Dark Island up there at a point before he had the mirror? Or is he just connector hunting?
I don't know. No, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm hangry. The stream broke halfway through. It's just, there's things happening. Fire Rod is on the floating island in Dark Death Mountain. But we missed where the connector was because we had a significant amount of technical issues. There's Berna in Ice Palace.
Which puts Laser Bridge into logic, for all that's worth.
As Spike Cave.
Yeah. And with the big key in hand, Illus opting not to hit the switch, going for the secret tech of just going through the big key door. Rarely seen Ice Palace plan these days, but or at least was a little while ago. My understanding is that this is very slightly faster, but of course you have to memorize an extra way to do this dungeon, which is a freaking maze. So.
Agree. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, forgot the chest. Okay.
This might actually be sneakily faster. Because you save a bunch of time on the fall-off animation.
There.
It seems like the two screen transitions should still be slower, but that, might be. There's a whole bunch of things in this game that I wish somebody else would time, but I can't be bothered doing it. And with Spooky, right pane to set up in Crosskeys, Red doing good old-fashioned hit the crystal switch Misery Mire, and remembering that he has Outer, which saves, even these fancy, high execution runners sometimes want to hit things with a powder sometimes.
Well, yeah, and Master Sword Biddy just is gross as well.
Well, those hearts turn into quite a lot of seconds right here because it's a lot more deboosts you can get out of the goo. Fred using his potion to get more deboost action.
Another small pod.
Have to turn up sooner or later. In principle, things like the bow could still be back, in the back of pod somewhere. We haven't actually needed them for anything yet. Needed the bow for anything yet.
We do not know where any bows are.
You know, the bow is the last of our for realsies items that we know we need to beat the game. Along with the Swamp Small Key, which is still at large. Fred still has to find that connector to Meyer to get his glove, and we know he needs to find the connector to Meyer because one of the gloves is in the Meyer area. So you're not getting bailed out by Titan's Mitts this seed.
Oh, and they do still have to climb GT.
Sorry, Jake Coper, is that its standard key sanity routing comment about Ice Palace? I would say yes, except some people still don't do it. So by Pink Friday, TR was marked as a pendant on Illus's screen for a while, and then he got some pendants that weren't the 3 pendants he marked, and everybody became slightly confused. So it was a pendant for a while, but not anymore. Hello, Mark Wynn. Welcome.
I think Fred is going to TT as well. We do need ice.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my Pink Friday. I like you, had ticked off TR as a pendant back when that was true, and failed to reevaluate the state of the universe. That puts us down to 3 things that Illus is looking for. 4 things that Illus is looking for. And 4 different things that Fred is looking for. At least. Which is a half an hour before we got to that situation in the game I calmed last night, so, you know, could be worse. Just as a side note, mostly because it amuses me, Fred is running Live Split track his T-Sanity project progress, which surprises me a little bit, because I feel like splits aren't very meaningful, but has a truly terrible set of splits up, with a final completion time of 8 hours and 42 minutes, which I assume makes you feel better when you're running. I don't know.
Yeah, I was expecting to see all gold splits, but so far only green ones.
Illus going for burner strats on Patrice rather than D-boosts, which gets you double the fun. You get burner hits and sword slashes. And if you're going to use a blue potion to refill your health anyway, you might as well. I was about to ask, will Fred finish the blind fight before Illus finally kills Vitreous? The answer is not quite.
Vitreous is a bunch of crap. boss. I hate that he's so bad, unless I have silver arrows, and I'm like, ah, it's fine.
Mercuric, that's I probably knew that, but you still at least get to stand in the goo and not take damage while with burner running, unless there's some double hit nonsense that makes that not work.
I think you can use spin fighters.
I mean,
This is gonna get his Smata Hera in the fire bar room. Really wish he wasn't using this key here.
so Illus hasn't dug up Tower of Hera yet, which
Oh, he did get that key already.
yeah, but Illus hasn't found the actual dungeon.
Look how crap Red Boomerang is.
I feel like that's more look how crap Illus's troller is. Fred off to go pull the pedestal.
It's about time. I mean, both of them could do it.
No, Illus still hasn't found Tower of Hera.
Oh,
so-
correct.
So if this is something,
Key.
small key to... Nope, not something. Logically something, maybe. Practically something, not at all. I feel like Crosskeys is a little bit trolly like that. There's a whole bunch of more logically required, but not actually required items in this mode than there is in a lot of modes, and so you wind up with 3 pendants open to you because the game is like, oh my god, you have to get 4 Turtle Rock Smalls before we can give you something, and you could have got there with 0. Illus, I'm going to check into the big chest for another Pod Small. Pod Small number 3. And we're presumably about to see Sweet Burner Strats for the second time in 2 bosses. Because on Armos, Burner certainly does damage, and it certainly does a whole ton of damage compared to everything else he's got available. Oh, I guess you could go for Sword Beams, too. Nope. Let that bottom left guy go. A bit unfortunate, but... Also, that'll add to his lag frame count at the end of the game.
Apologies, was pushing the wrong button to talk. I'm here.
I'm sorry, I was truly being very rude, talking over you and stuff. I
I asked so many questions, made so many good points, and just nothing. I don't know why I use this button for push to talk, because this happens constantly.
One of my close gaming friends has a headset with a hardware mute button on it, with a light that you can only see if you are not wearing the headset.
Oh, that's fun.
Which seems like a design flaw, but, you know, what do I know?
They have found the dam, well, at least Illus has. That is over in the Desert Mire area. Unfortunately, the glove you need is also there. You have to take the connector to T-Rock, which is a pretty common occurrence in Crosskeys. So I'm sure we'll see Fred do it at some point, which he might be doing it.
I feel like out of all the connectors that people forget to do, remembering to go out the middle entrance of Turtle Rock is right up there. On the other hand, here's Fred busy doing it, I think. Maybe after the item checks, but
not really. Because you can kind of do a little bomb jump there, and it doesn't cost you any keys. But yeah, Fred is making that play right now, which I don't think Fred had very many more options, so this was kind of like a last resort.
yeah, unfortunately, Fred is not streaming his map tracker, so I can't put my head right up against the screen and see what he thinks he has left on the map. And unlike Pink Kitty Rose and a couple of other commentators that are superhuman, I cannot run 2 map trackers at once to figure out what the runners think the state of the game is. If I was here on time, I might have tried running 1, but 2 is right out. So, 4 Turtle Rock Smalls are basically required every seed.
There's our entry.
Logically, just because you can do things that are really stupid. Yeah, the bonk to the left exit of Laser Eyes is maybe the single freest thing, like trick in the game. But because it only comes up in Crosskeys, it's a little bit of game knowledge people don't necessarily know. For those of you that don't know, if you just put yourself on the left-hand side of the big chest entrance to Turtle Rock and bonk against the bottom right wall, or use a bomb, you wind up on the wrong side of the rail and you can just it is completely and utterly free. Fred spending his 10th bomb of the game being angry at the game. It's a good thing that there's no, anti-terrorism laws in Hyrule, because Fred's version of Link appears to be quite the arsonist.
He did have a very good reaction to finding that glove, though. I always appreciate when runners use webcams so that I can see their faces when they find things that are super trolly. We have the mushroom there in Catfish. And we do know where the potion shop is, which is in the Dark World hut just south of Dark Link's house, the original bomb hut. That is actually important for Illus. He did need that small key because he still has to climb Ganon's tower. Although he also needs that fire rod and the ice rod.
Surprised that Illus isn't going straight to turn in the mushroom, unless he did that while I wasn't looking already.
I believe so.
Okay. Just it's so free that you should just flute to 2, hand in your mushroom, don't think about it.
Especially since we've already done powder.
Yeah.
Maybe he did turn it in because it looks like he's beelining for the potion shop. Nope. Oh, he's going to pod.
My Pink Friday, yes, Ganon is vanilla. So we are going to see a GT climb at some point today. Because despite the fact that people call this 7-7 fast Ganon, it's not 7-7 fast Ganon because this hole in the pyramid is not here. You've got to beat Agatower to make that appear.
I wouldn't be surprised if Arbo is in here.
Well, it wasn't in Eastern, so where else is it going to be?
Right.
If we're really feeling trolly, we can have them both in here.
Or another pod key.
Thus demonstrating that that chest not behind 6 pod keys. So Illus still needs to find the connector to Fire Rod that Fred has. Fred needs to find... I think Fred's otherwise is caught up with Illus on item. Unless there's a key.
There's the bell.
Real quick. And Fred also needs to go into pod for a boat. It turns out. But Fred's pulled the pedestal, which is worth a 20-second time bonus at the end of the game or whatever.
Ooh,
Temper Sword is another good find. So Fred needs to dig up some large number of pod keys before he pulls the trigger on going back into pod. According to my version of his tracker, he only has one.
Another glove.
Yeah, let's just rage shoot that chest, or is that just quick swap fail?
Might have been quick swaps to fail.
It is the next item, and he just got the bow, so he might have gotten the number of boops wrong.
Oh, okay. So the menuing that Illus did was to line himself up with the correct pixels so that he could place the bomb in the right spot. There's actually two places that you'll probably see runner's pause buffer there. The first one is to get the bomb placement. The second one is to line yourself up with the bomb shadow so that you can be shot across that rail.
And the reason that's interesting is that it saves you a key going into the dark room from the top, which saves Illus going and finding the last pod small D. If all the keys just fall into your lap, it's actually not faster. But that doesn't happen very often. So, and the reason it's called the hammer yump is because the room is shaped like a hammer. It has nothing to do with the hammer of the item. And I assume that the yump thing is that it was discovered by a German guy or something. Like, I don't get it.
I did not know it was called hammer jump because the room is shaped like a hammer. Hashtag the more you know. Thank you so much, Excalibur, for being here. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, it's one of those names that you just accept without really thinking about it. Yeah, it just turns out that if you look on the room layout, that room is shaped like a hammer.
Now, is this your own personal assessment or is there proof? Because my dad
kind
of
proof.
has proclamations about this. He's very similar to having these little well-known facts.
I believe... so certainly I've heard speedrunners that run an MG and have been for 15 years give that explanation.
I appreciate that.
But I haven't gone into like a 20-year-old VOD watching spree to try to find the first, original sources. Is it Swedish yet, Jacober? So, also, it wouldn't surprise me, Jacober, if the room being shaped like a hammer and the chest being a hammer are also not related. So, Humbug, I actually find it kind of funny when interviewing Europeans with good English accents who say hammer jump with the hard J. Just because, I don't know. It's just funny that the native English speakers, many of them say yump, and then I've had multiple Central Europeans pronounce the hard J.
I just remember the first time I saw that trick, my mind was like blown. I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. It was just like the most amazing thing I had ever seen. And now I don't even think about it. I just do it. And I'm like, eh. But of course, I was like, when I saw Icebreaker and Diver Down, I was like, oh my gosh. Must
in a
learn.
lot of like Hammer Yump, like feels like it sort of kind of makes sense more than the various like door extension dealies, but they're all bugs around those rails being totally buggered.
Oh, Fred's going all the way to the front. What if Ice Rod is in T-Rock? It would make so much sense. Oh, this could be good. Sorry, I'm so hungry. I'm getting delirious.
Yeah, me too. I jumped in on comms rather than cooking dinner, so I'm with you.
I just texted my husband and was like, if you don't bring food, don't come home.
Part of the deal in this household is that I do all the cooking, so eventually there will be food. Please, runners, run fast. So Terry, I am in England, despite the Canadian accent.
Now that I know that you live in England, I demand a British accent, sir.
So my family are Scottish, and so when I was a kid, I've actually lived all over the place. I had tried very hard not to acquire an English accent, because my grandmother would kill me if I ever turned up with an English accent.
My grandmother was actually from England as well, and she did her accent diluted a little bit because she spent most of her life here. She came here when she was 19, but as soon as she'd be talking to one of her family members on the phone, man, that accent got thick.
Yeah, it happens to me too, and my partner. We're from all over, and so we have an assortment of accents. And so if you replaced yourself with an English runner, an English commentator, my accent would definitely change a little bit.
So just a single arrow of destiny off the Armos Knights there, but Fred did find that small key to Swamp Palace in the front of T-Rock, which Illus has found. Unfortunately, does not have that fire rod yet, so is not going to be able to get it as of right now.
So at that point, like, Illus is busy doing item searches here, right? You're doing the smiths and so on, when what he really needs to be doing is doing entrance searches. So I worry that he's not seen the fire rod on the floating island. He is still looking for a few items as well. Ice rod is still out there.
Still has it marked as he has not found it yet, I think. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so it's possible he has not found that connector yet. I had to wait till we switched to the Dark World map.
Another person with Scottish family in chat feeling my pain about making sure not to sound like an English person talking to one's grandmother. So I'm glad I'm not alone in that front.
Oh, so our fourth sword is in Swamp Palace.
fcoughlin is still missing bow and ice rod, so no.
Looks like
so
we're gonna see a diver down from Fred.
surprises me a bit.
It does surprise me too. Fred always has like the really good tricks. I love watching him when he's playing Z1 as well. Fred is very well versed in most of the randos. And just a wonderful person. Yeah. As is Illus. I don't think Illus plays Z1 rando though. Oh, just $20 from Spike Cave. I just hope that all of the technical difficulties didn't tilt poor Illus, because that can cause a lot of problems, like especially breaking like your concentration so early in the seed, like not early enough that you can kind of fix it, but just around the time where you're developing a game plan and then it's all shot to shit because everything decides to break.
Yeah, it's particularly a problem given that I think he was trying to race and do tech support at the same time, since there's a higher probability than usual of failing to mark something.
Or forgetting a connector that you've checked.
Yeah. Or forgetting that a connector that you've checked is important. So, on Illus's map tracker, he has the floating island marked off, which is a little bit troubling. On the Light World's floating island.
Yeah, that's the island marked off, but the entrance is in the Dark World, so he might be okay.
Yeah. Well, this is...
Okay, he just saw it. He definitely saw it.
That looked like a man rechecking a spot.
Okay, now we're gonna get some diver down action. And there it is. Bombs and a compass.
Illus going for the buffer spin speed version of Parapot. I never know what people are looking for when they're busy doing those buffers, so if someone wants to enlighten me what the visual cue is that Illus is looking for.
Okay, for that one, you have to get... Okay, that's the one I learned and I'm most comfortable with. It's about just... Okay, you go over to the side and you come over to like just past the door, and then you have to do the diagonal walk to where you get down into the line with the... It's really hard to... Walter the Fourth is the one that taught me, and he's the one you're going to want to ask.
All right. If I see Walter, I will say, "Hey man, apparently you have the juice on the Haripot." So I go for the sort of no buffer version of that and just smash my face into the pot a few times, and eventually it works.
That's pretty much what I do.
So if buffering can, make that more consistent, I'd like to know about it. I just don't know what the actual point of the buffer is. So Illus has now gotten himself pedestal access, and probably thinks there's something useful over there. There isn't. Fred showed us earlier, but we might see a cool animation again. And with the Titan's Mitts in hand, given that we have a Mire connector, Titan's Mitts don't do a whole heck of a lot of anything, except get you in exactly this door and the one at Ice Palace, neither of which I believe Illus has been spat out of. But while we're in the area, I might as well do the hokey pokey.
Well, we haven't seen this yet, so...
No, it's totally valid check, especially now that the Titans have fallen into your lap. It's just, the mitts are pretty close to a fetch quest item at this point. But let's see if that fetch quest pays off. I get. We got one more try. Jinxie, how is your map tracker complete enough? You can tell me how many item caves we're still missing?
We are missing, of course, the 2 tablets, a Gina, the purple chest, and the Font Rocks.
Okay, and Agate Tower, which we've just turned up.
Yeah. I actually take those notes by hand.
You just have a full list of all the locations, just cross them off as we go.
I do. I have a giant whiteboard.
Nice. mean you have to write them all out at the beginning of every seed again?
What was that?
Does that mean you have to write all the locations out again at the beginning of the seed? You can cross them
No,
off?
what I did was get a gigantic picture frame, and I kind of listed everything out, including dungeons, Ganon's Tower, and then I just write with a dry erase on top of the glass of the picture frame.
Ah, cool. Well, that's a good system when you're super prepared. My home office, which, like many people, is currently heavily in use, does not include things like whiteboards, because I'm not that organized. I actually seriously thought about nicking the one from work on the last day before lockdown.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, chat, we totally failed to write down how Fred Coughlin got to Floating Island. And all we know is that Illus needs to get there. Sorry. This is a really good sign for Fred in that we know the bow is back here. I don't know if Illus has also found the other side of the spec rock, but the logic certainly can't force you to go out the front entrance. So this is the only way out, and it is the connector that he's looking for. He might have gotten lucky to have tracked that without and had just ticked off the floating island as useless, and so now it's just an ice rod hunt. Illus has Eastern done, has Pod done.
Illus is about to grab that small key to Swamp Palace as we speak.
Yep. Now it's just a question of, Illus, I think, has more total checks done, though it's close. They basically both have all the same stuff. Fred has to do the run through Eastern. Illus has to do the run through Swamp, which is longer. And then it's, making the dense choices if you think you're winning, or the less dense choices if you think you're losing in the Ice Rod Hunt game.
I'm wondering if Ice Rod is on Mushroom.
That's certainly a possibility. I mean, we're running out of other possibilities, right? That list of locations you told me was not very long. Of course, they can get daisy-chained into fetch quests. The book could be there, and they have to run around and check the book locations. But this looks like a ice. Is this potion shop into Ice Palace entrance?
This is Swamp.
Ah, okay.
How did Fred not get the bow?
Didn't check Harmless Hellway on the last trip around the old dungeon.
That is fairly unfortunate.
Yep. There's a non-zero chance. that he does it with that last key. Fred is 2 pod keys down. There's one in the back, which I didn't see if he got it or not. I don't know where Illus's other extra pod key was at this point.
Big chest at Ganon's tower. I don't think
Yeah.
at the big key.
Yep.
Can you check it?
The key was in the turtle room in the back, and he did downstairs. So I assume he's actually 2 keys down on keys not other than that one.
Nope, just a map on the mushroom.
Fred is really committed to the bit of, terrorism against any and all that wrong him.
Need to go up the tower immediately. Unfortunately, Fred isn't going to be able to because he doesn't have that bow, but Illus needs to definitely climb the tower after this. Because
Given that we know that we have to do the tower anyway, I don't see any reason to put it off particularly, right? It's basically a crystal dungeon in routing priority.
also the right side is available now because Illus did not have the fire rod. So there's 4 more items there, plus the 4 at the top. 5 at the top. 6? How many is there at the top? 6?
5 upstairs.
5, okay.
Pretty sure. Now you've got me worried.
Wait, is 4? 2
27 total.
Okay.
But that's 22 locations plus the big chest. So there's actually only 4 upstairs. There's 5 excess locations after you do the basement. In normal times. I'd put off the refresh for a minute. Oh, they're way out of sync. I don't know. Sorry, talking
Yeah,
to
we're
the...
like 42 seconds out of sync now.
Yeah. So yeah, Fred not getting as far as the bow in the back of pod is super terrible for Fred. Though he did
Could be
leave.
a bow in right side GT.
That would bail him out. Or at Agina at Ice Rod, or at Ice Palace. Or one of the other very few world locations that they haven't checked yet.
Hammer pegs. Agina could very easily be in Ganon's tower entrance.
Yeah. What are the locations that we haven't checked yet?
Ganon's tower, the 2 tablets, I believe Ice Palace. I think the Dark World, Death Mountain entrance, like that weird one underneath Upper Cave.
Oh, really?
I don't
Seems
think
an odd one to have missed. And our remaining locations are Agina and 2 nothings. Oh, and we also haven't checked Pyramid yet, because the bomb shop is somewhere truly wretched, as I recall.
yeah, it's true. Wait, what just happened? What were those checks?
Well,
No!
one of them was a bow on the right side of GT.
Was it?
Yep, in the 4 chest room on the right.
That's very good news for Fred.
Very good news for Fred, eventually.
This
It does mean-
buffering and syncing is killing me.
Yep.
Oh, there's Hype Cave. Super important small to Misery Mire. That was a joke. No. Things are happening. Okay.
So I haven't seen any sign of Hype Cave yet, and you promised me that we'd found a Hype Cave, so...
Yeah, Small to Misery Mire and the cave are the only things in it. That is in our Hammer Pigs location.
Okay. The fact that that was missing presumably
Purple
makes searching for entrances a little bit more appealing.
Yeah. I forgot that we hadn't checked Hype Cave yet. I forgot to even look at that mark.
So Terry J, Hype Cave was at Hammer Pegs and contained nothing in the room.
Oh my god, I missed what the purple chest was because it synced up.
Me too.
But he did not mark off ice rods, so it's fine. Everything is so bad right now.
Illus's current check is something we don't care about, so now would be a good time for technical difficulties. I'm sorry, we'll get you a better birthday present next year, Terry. A race that, you know, mostly works.
There, now
Being
you're
on the
gonna
list.
get to see Hype Cave. Where are you going? Back to turn in the green pendant. Okay.
Hammer Pegs, of course, being the third MIDS location that I completely forgot about.
At least now I think we're gonna get to see what's on the purple chest. If it quits thinking.
Illus is heading into Swamp.
He's already done this. Something's wrong. Unless he forgot to grab the big chest?
With 7 out of 10 checks finished. Thank you, Compass. That looks like he left behind
He did
left
your
side.
Right side. Yeah. Left side, right side, same thing. Not really. Just bombs. Okay, this is good news for Fred, and I'm sure he's going up. He has to.
Well, I mean, I agree, but I would have thought that Illus would do it as well, right? There's no...
I'm not sure why Illus didn't, unless he... No, he has all 4 damn towers small. I don't know.
Given that we know upstairs is required and he was in there, that decision is perplexing to me. Goomba Ganon is in the pyramid. Which is to say, I think Illus should have gone up the tower while he was there. Yeah, it's a fairly important check, checking Ganon at some point. Fred, not at all interested in dodging that spike. got hit, I think, 4 times, which seems like a few too many. Yurhurk Wanderer, we're pretty sure we're missing Agina yet, but there was some times earlier in the game when we missed some stuff, so to be determined.
Yeah, the stream has been very, very unstable, unfortunately. So we have missed a lot of the runner's checks because it keeps trying to synchronize and what have you. Oh, I think Fred is going to get that pod small as well.
Jacob, I feel like the routing you save, then you're giving up now. Though if GT is in a particularly convenient spot, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, I guess that might be faster than getting back to
Speaking of Agina,
the pyramid. Nothing.
nothing. So, I mean, it's at this point, it has to be on top of Ganon's tower.
Or
I think we have
in a
one
fetch
more
quest.
chest in Aga Tower that neither is checked. I think we did all our fetch quests too. Yeah, all our
I
fetch
mean,
quests are done. Oh, the tablets.
I
mean, we may as well get the book at this point.
Yeah. The book is like a 2-for-1 deal on fetch quest. Did Illus leave a chest behind here, or just the back entrance?
I think
Looks
he
like
pulled
just the
Ped.
back entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and presumably pulling Ped while he's here. So we'll see if Illus's decision to leave behind GT hurts him a lot or a little bit in a moment. There's another item location, which Fred had already found, so, but that could have been on Illus's mind. We get to have our second blindfold Ped pull of the day. Womp, womp. And Illus is back. And of course, if it's not here, then Jinx Girl and I get to sit here and be like, what did we miss? Where?
Yeah.
What else is left?
I don't think there's anything left at this point.
We haven't seen the inside of the pyramid, but if we're sure we've seen all the item caves, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the only one I don't have marked off is Bonk Rocks, and that could be, I could have just missed it.
On the other hand, it could be in the pyramid. Like that is something the runners hopefully know that we do not.
I'd just like to point out that Den rolled this seed, not me. The last seed I rolled for Crosskeys, both runners finished under 2 hours. Actually, under 2 hours and 45 minutes. We had one finish around an hour 30, and the other one finished at like 1:42.
1:30 is a good time.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
It was extreme, and it was Ampharos and I forget Ampharos versus I don't remember.
You sure AA's doesn't have a secret switch to make good seeds for himself? There's the book.
There's our book. Okay, that opens up 2 more checks. Oh yeah. It was Wolfie and Ambrose, and it was so close. We had such a good race, and they could have done it without the Moon Pearl, and I believe Wolfie did complete it without the Moon Pearl and a glove.
Neat. The last 3, this race and the previous 2 that I've commentated, I think have had pedestal checks in all 3 of them. So,
Fun.
giving the crowd what they want, but
Okay, so Ice Rod probably on one of the tablets at this point.
so which one do you do first?
I think Fred is going to go into pod first, actually. Illus is going to be the one to check our tablets for us. There you go. Jay Coper keeping me in line.
I feel like I need to watch the pod of that. That sounds like a fun scene.
Oh, that's right, because Jay Coper stepped in and did comms for me so that I could just restream. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, that was a super awesome race.